one of the great graces of Christmas is perspective. And for me, this perspective is sorely needed because my own expectation had been that coming into Christmas, it would almost be COVID-free or so COVID-safe that we wouldn't really have to worry. I mean, after all, vaccination rates have been so high and there's been almost this hope that we were getting on top of it. And then Omicron. After these 2 years of uncertainty, meaning that many of our plans are once again thrown into disarray, or at least there's a cloud of darkness and uncertainty put over it. And yet, how often is this the case when it comes to Christmas? There's a certain expectation that it will be a time of joy, of happiness. And yet, for how many of you during this time are experiencing loneliness, a loss of not being able to see loved ones, either because of death or again separation? And we know that this time of year is a time where domestic violence levels increase to their highest. It's almost as if every single year there's this expectation of what Christmas is going to be like, and then reality being so different. And yet it's only in reality that Christ comes to us, that our whole reality, our whole future can be transformed with genuine hope. And so this is where the grace of Christmas is offered to each one of us. And let's cast our minds back to that very first Christmas. I've got so many of these beautiful cards that almost show a picture perfect birth of Christ. And yet we know Mary and Joseph had to travel 160 kilometers by foot and donkey over very rough terrain immediately before the birth of Christ. On arrival in Bethlehem, there was no one to welcome them, even just at this human level, a very heavily pregnant woman. And so they give birth in this cave, this stable, and almost immediately thereafter, Joseph flees with Mary and Jesus into Egypt as refugees, a place where they didn't know the language, where they had to start all over again because King Herod wanted to kill this child. They were refugees. And yet on this night, we hear the message of the angels, glory to God in the highest, and on earth, peace to people of good will. No matter what our situation, this is the gift that's offered to us, the gift of peace. If only we open our hearts. Jesus Christ is the gift of God to each one of us. He is the Prince of Peace. And that's why he's called Emmanuel, God with us, even in difficult circumstances. One of the feedbacks I've received over the last couple of years is that the most helpful prayer people have had is the surrender prayer. It's a prayer that'll include a link to. But it just means that we enable ourselves to hand over everything to God, knowing that we can trust him, that he is in control, that he truly is with us. So even if you're finding yourself not in the ideal of circumstances this Christmas, I invite you to open your hearts once more to Christ, to allow him to come with you where you are and to transform your reality into all that he wants it to be, because he wants you to know that you're deeply loved by him, that he's deeply interested in you, and that ultimately is looking to dwell in your soul, to find that place of rest in you. He also brings this rest with him. What better message is there, especially after these couple of years that have been so hectic and uncertain? So let's turn to Christ this Christmas, because it's only in him that we find our true peace and rest. I wish you, all your loved ones, a very happy, blessed, peaceful Christmas and 2022.